Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be teaching you how I take photos underwater with my GoPro Hero 8. I hope you enjoy and learn something new, so let's get right to it. Before getting into the details, these are the settings that I use when taking photos with my GoPro underwater. In the rest of the video, I will explain why I use these settings and how to change them depending on the situation. So first I want to teach you the settings that I use when I am taking photos underwater with the GoPro. I like to change the output to RAW. So what shooting in RAW does is that it gives you two file types, the JPEG and the GPR. The difference between the two is that the JPEG is the more common file format and it's very convenient for sharing your photos straight out of the camera, as it drastically reduces the file size and also keeps pretty good quality. On the other hand, shooting in GPR or the RAW format, you get a little more information in your photos as the sensors record everything it sees. So if you're going to be editing in post-production, you can recover more details in the shadows and the highlights. One big disadvantage of the GPR files is that most computers cannot open the file straight away, so you have to import them into an editing software such as Lightroom. Then you have to edit the photo and then export it out of the editing software, so you finally get the photo into an available format which can be opened on the PC. Okay, so let's try comparing the same photo shot in JPEG and RAW to try and see the difference between the two. So the biggest difference between the two files is the file size. The JPEG file straight out of the camera is only about 5 megabytes in size, whereas the RAW file that I exported through Lightroom is about 14 megabytes in size. You can see the biggest differences on the shell of the turtle. In the RAW file, it's managed to keep the details of all of the scratches and marks on the shell. And also, if you look at the legs, you can see a lot more of the scales more clearly, even in the shadows with the RAW file. Also, with the JPEG image, the camera has already processed all of the sharpening, all of the contrasts, noise reduction, and the other factors of the photo. So I don't have much flexibility to edit it myself in post-production. However, because all of this has not been done yet with the RAW file, it gives me a lot more room to make the photo how I want it to look. So I tried editing this RAW file in Lightroom and it came out a little like this. So in this video I just want to talk about the settings to use, but I will release a tutorial on how to edit and color your photos in Lightroom later this week. So yeah, please look forward to that. Now we're going to move down to the ProTune section. First, the shutter speed. In an ideal scenario, you want to change it depending on the conditions. However, because we can't mess with the settings underwater, I'm just going to keep it on auto. The EV comp you want on -0.5. Next, the white balance, you don't want it on auto, you want to change that. Probably around native or around 5000 is the best for shooting underwater. When filming underwater, a lot of the red color is lost due to the water, so I personally like to set my white balance values a little higher than native. This will give you a warmer and more natural look. The ISO values we want to keep as low as possible, so try to film in 100/100 whenever you can, and then sharpness you can keep on medium, and the color profile I'm going to change to flat. One last thing we want to do is we're going to swipe down on the screen to bring up the settings, and we're just going to tap the button on the bottom left to turn the grid lines on. It's pretty much useful to have the grid lines on all the time when using the GoPro, whether you're taking photos or videos above water or underwater. What you can do with it is that you can use the squares as a reference point to make sure that the subject of your video or photo is in the middle of the screen, and also it helps in keeping the horizon flat and straight so that your picture is not crooked. So thank you for watching up to this point. On the screen I'm going to put up all the settings that I talked about for taking underwater photos with the GoPro Hero 8. As I said earlier in the video, I will be doing a tutorial on how to edit your RAW photos using Lightroom. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you all for watching, and see you in the next video.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me, hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight.